Do you feel fulfilled in life? The show will begin in 4 minutes. Are you ready? When was the last time you felt betrayed? When was the last time you felt loved? The show will begin in 3 minutes. Are you ready? What did it feel like to be in love? What is the most painful part of being in love? The show will begin in 2 minutes. Are you ready? Are you ready to be transformed? Are you ready to make a change? The show will begin in 1 minute. I hope you're ready. The show will begin in exactly 30 seconds. Get ready.
What if I told you that the way you dress can drastically change a man's attraction towards you? What if I also told you that if you want to be as irresistible as possible towards men, that the way you should dress is by dressing for yourself? If that makes absolutely no sense to you, don't worry. On today's show, we'll be discussing how to dress so well that men fall in love with you. That way, any room you walk into, everyone will stop and stare, including the guy you're already attracted to. welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so I know you're here present and actively participating. So good to see all you beautiful people on this, what's today? Today's a Thursday. For some of you who are in the USA, it is Thanksgiving, so happy Thanksgiving to you. For those of you who are wondering, I live in Toronto, Canada, so it's not Thanksgiving for me. Our Thanksgiving already passed, so it's just a regular day for me. But even if it was Thanksgiving, I'd be here, which I was on my Thanksgiving, okay? So welcome all you beautiful people to the show, and happy Thanksgiving to those of you who are celebrating that. Who we got up in the TikTok chat? I see we got Gabriella here, Adorable is here, Starnin is here, Sugar is here, Z is here, Erica is here, Aset is here, and of course we have our three moderators. I hope we have all three. SH, I see Scotty here, and I think I saw SH, and I hopefully Sharice is here as well. Welcome all of you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. Who we got over in the YouTube chat? I know Ivy's got to be here because this is a topic that was inspired by one of the ideas that Ivy presented in our Discord, okay? Olga, one of our channel members, is here. Great Fortune Cookie, one of our channel members, is here. Erica is here. Isabel is here. We got CLA is here. CC is here. Flower is here. Okay, Kayla is here. And of course, we have the most amazing, most awesome principal, Missy America, here joining us. Let's get started in today's special Thanksgiving version of the show, okay? I wish I had like some graphics I could put on here, okay? I can only do so many things, but oh well. All right, happy Thanksgiving. Let's hop into our first point. Now, I do want to preface everything that I'm going to say here by helping you all understand that this show is not supposed to be about me telling you what you should or shouldn't do. In fact, today's show is the exact opposite. So if you were expecting me to give you some sort of cookie cutter template answer of exactly what you should wear and how you should wear it, that's not going to be today's show. I'm going to give you advice that will help you be more of yourself. So you're going to kind of see what I mean here. All right, let's start off with our first point, okay? All right. Now, I kind of want you guys know, okay? It's Thanksgiving. I don't want you to be mean about my drawing skills today, okay? You have straight hair for those of you who have straight hair, and I'm going to give you an afro for those of you who have curly hair, all right? Nobody complain. You drew straight hair, I have curly hair. You drew curly hair, I have straight hair, all right? There's both on here today. Now, let's draw you out because I want us to imagine a scenario together that is really important, okay? You got little boot heels on in this scenario. So, confidence is so important, especially when we're talking about how you dress, because confidence is going to drastically change how attractive you are regardless of whatever you're wearing, okay? And this is what I kind of want to help you visualize, okay? Confidence can be the difference between when you walk around, there feels like a certain type of energy or background behind you versus another. So kind of let me help you visualize this. Imagine someone is walking around and everywhere they go, it's like there's sunshine all behind them and you can feel like this beam of light just coming through them as they walk around, right? And you see it, they got a smile on their face, they're happy, they're outgoing, that's kind of a weird, we'll draw you a better smile. We want you to be really beautiful here, okay? You got a smile on your face, right? You're all 32 teeth, so shiny, so clean, my shiny teeth and me, and you're like glowing. You know when people say you're glowing, right? The glow up and all that, all those things like that, right? When you're walking around, you have like this essence to you, this glow to you. Now, what I want to kind of refer to you as it relates to how you dress, it's so important that what you put on yourself makes you feel confident. Because if it doesn't make you feel confident, if it makes you feel insecure, or if you're wearing it and you're using it as a way to get validation from other people to tell you if you're beautiful or you look good in that, it's also not going to work the way that we want it to work. We want what you put on to actually allow you to feel more confident within yourself, and that when you look in the mirror, you believe that you look good. You believe that you're sexy. You believe that you're the it girl. That is it's so important. This is why this is number one, because I cannot give you advice like, hey, go put on a red blazer, all right? Or give you advice like, hey, you should wear a black mini skirt. And then when you put it on, you're like, Tomisin's my favorite YouTuber and streamer, and he said put on a red blazer because that's what men like, or put on a black mini skirt, that's what the guys like. But you know, the mini skirt doesn't really fit my body, and the blazer, looks weird. Why does it have shoulder pads? I'm not president. Like, what is this? It doesn't make sense. And this is the problem. Because the same way someone who walks around with confidence will have that glow to them, that you almost feel like there's sunshine behind them. There's like this spotlight following them around, even though there's nothing actually there, right? It's an energy, right? It's an aura about that person when they are confident within themselves. And confident comes from all of these different sources. One of which is when you look in the mirror, how do you feel about yourself? How do you feel that you look when you look in the mirror? Are you happy with what you see in the mirror, or are you unhappy or unsure about what you see in the mirror? Because even if you're just unsure about what you see, what's going to end up happening is you're going to say, okay, when I look in the mirror, I don't know if I look good because when I put on this red blazer that Tomisin told me to wear, I think I look decent, not that good, but maybe the guys really like it. So I'm going to rely on the guys to show me or tell me if they think I look good. You want to know what happens then when you walk around and you're looking for that validation for those men to tell you if you look good. When they don't tell you, or they don't express it, or you don't feel it, now all of a sudden you're like, well, I feel like maybe it's not working, right? And then you can go from being like this, where you have this glow around you, and it's like everywhere you go, there's like this beam of light following you. You're like under a spotlight. You really are the main character. You can go from being that to being someone who has like clouds all around you. It's like everywhere you go, it's like raining around you, okay? There's like, it's all dreary and dark, and it's just a whole bunch of darkness, and nobody wants to be around you, and they really feel like you got this dark energy following you everywhere that you're going, right? That would be a version of what we would describe as like insecurity. Being unsure of yourself, right? Looking for validation from other people to tell you if what you're wearing looks good on you. This is the thing. When you're learning how to dress so well that the men fall in love with you and find you super attractive, it is hyper important that you first find yourself attractive in whatever it is that you're wearing, because from there, you're going to attract very specific types of men, and you're going to see how this all kind of ties together, okay? So first things first is confidence. We do not want you wearing something specifically because you saw it on the internet and you hear that other people like it, so that's what you think you should be wearing. You have to actually, and there's nothing wrong with experimenting, I want to be clear, but you have to actually, when you put it on, be like, no, this is actually me. I actually feel good in this. Even if it's your first time wearing it and you're like, I don't know how I feel about miniskirts, I don't know how I feel about blazers, but when you put it on, you're like, oh, no, I look hot. This is me. I'm rocking this. I didn't know I could rock it, but I'm rocking this. Bingo, then you're where you need to be, okay? We need you to first have the confidence within yourself that this is what you think you look good in, okay? We can't just do it solely because you want the men to tell you you look good, but you're not even sure if you look good. We want you sure first. Now, let's hop into number 2. I know number 1 was pretty focused on, the inside, but we always have to start with the inside, even if it's a little bit superficial, all right? Now, let's get to the real meat and potatoes here that I want you to kind of understand when it comes to dressing, okay? So, we have something here. Make sure I spell this right. The spell police will get me if I don't spell this right, okay? So we have something that we would describe as an aesthetic. Every single one of us has our own unique aesthetic, okay? So let me break this down for you in a visual so you can kind of see how this works, okay? So all of these different circles here, we can draw a whole bunch, okay? All of these different circles, let's consider them like different aesthetics. So these type of aesthetics, you might have an aesthetic here that is girly. You might have an aesthetic here that's goth. You might have an aesthetic here that's tomboy. You might have an aesthetic here that, I don't know, what did I have down here? Oh, an outdoorsy one, right? You can have an outdoorsy one. You can have all of these different type of aesthetics. Let's say you put a smart one here, right, with glasses and things like that. And whatever you want, all of these different type of aesthetics are possible in terms of the way that you dress. Have you ever heard people talk about a niche, right? When content creators or things talk about niches, they're all just talking about a category, a group, right, that all fits under the same umbrella. So what I want you to understand is even in the way that you dress, you're going to fit under a group or an umbrella. There are certain looks that based on your personality, based on who you are, and based on the type of friends you have that you gravitate towards. Now, obviously, these aren't all of the different aesthetics in the world, but I'm just giving you examples of different aesthetics. So the reason I say that is because what you're going to do, if you want to understand how to dress so well that the men find you attractive, you have to first figure out what is your own individual aesthetic. Now, this is where you're going to have to step in and do some work. I can't do this work for you because what you're going to have to do is if you don't know which one of these categories you fit into or gravitate towards, you're going to have to start experimenting with different categories to see what looks best on you, what you like on you, and what you feel speaks to who you are the most. Okay? So, for example, let's just say for the sake of argument, you're trying to figure out what your aesthetic is and you love Euphoria, okay? You love the TV show Euphoria and you literally, your favorite character on Euphoria is Maddie. You're so obsessed with her. You're obsessed with how her character dresses. You're obsessed with the outfit she wears. Maybe she wears this tight two-piece, whatever it may be. And you're like, oh my God, exactly how she does her hair. I love it. Exactly how she dresses on every episode. I love it. I love everything about her character. Now you're saying to yourself, right? Let's just say for the sake of example, it was a girly look that she had, right? Or a specific type of look. You're saying to yourself, okay, I see that my favorite character, Maddie, fits under this girly aesthetic here. And if Maddie fits under this girly aesthetic and she's one of my favorite characters, let me see if I can find outfits that resemble the type of things that Maddie is wearing. This is what you're gonna do if you're not sure what your aesthetic is. Then what you're essentially gonna do is, now you're gonna go on Pinterest. Okay, I'm getting deep in the weeds here. I'm deep in the weeds here. You're gonna go on Pinterest if you're really serious about creating your aesthetic. And you're going to create what's called a mood board. This mood board is essentially going to be a whole bunch of different pictures of outfits and looks that are in line with that same aesthetic that you've seen Maddie have that you think is very inspirational to you or aspirational to you, right? Meaning that when you see Maddie wearing that, you're like, damn, she looks hot, right? I would love to look like Maddie. Now you have at least what we could describe as an archetype for you to work off of that you're gonna build off of, okay? So we have to start somewhere. So you've identified that Maddie is the person that you think, damn, I would really love to be like her. Like she's my favorite character. I love how she dresses. Then you go on Pinterest and you start putting together outfits and what we describe as a mood board on Pinterest where you're picking different and saving different pictures and videos to kind of get a better understanding of exactly how she dresses, the types of pieces that she would wear, right? And the type of things that you would see out in the world that are in line with that same aesthetic. Now, once you get there and you've kind of honed in a little bit more on that aesthetic, is when you're gonna go out and start actually purchasing those type of clothes, right? And this is the great thing about Pinterest, okay? And I told you, we're getting deep in the weeds here. The great thing about Pinterest is in a lot of those posts that you'll see either a link to the clothes or you'll see some sort of, like they'll tell you where they got it from or they'll say it there, okay? That's part of the whole Pinterest process. So it's very good for you because now as you're building an aesthetic, you don't even have to be doing a whole bunch of research trying to find out, well, where exactly can I get those clothes from? And once you find the place where they're getting those clothes from that fits that aesthetic that you're looking for, now you have your go-to shop. And I'll be honest with you, okay? If you're looking for a specific aesthetic, you're most likely gonna find it in an online store. I'll just be real with you, okay? Going to the mall and just randomly shopping is not gonna help you hone in on your specific aesthetic. So my advice to you is if you really want to experiment here and get really serious about which one of these categories you're going to be in, you start online shopping, because then you can get so specific that you can literally take a picture that you see online and go directly to the link of whatever it is that that specific person is wearing in that specific picture. Are you following me? Okay. So this is very, very important, right? When you're finding your look and you're finding your aesthetic, you're essentially doing the most important part of this process, because figuring out what that look is what's going to allow you to build off of this look and build your essentially your the external version of your personality, right? You have an inward personality. You want to kind of extend that to the way that you dress. Right? And if someone were to take a picture of you every time that you go out, they should be able to get some sort of a sense of your personality through the way that you dress. That's why it's so important to understand, well, which one of these categories here speaks to me the most, right? Obviously, there's more than this, right? But that's the experimental process of trying different things and asking yourself an internal question of, does this speak to me? When I look in the mirror, do I feel confident in this? Do I feel like I'm rocking this, or is that not me? Okay, and that's a question you have to answer for yourself, and you have to be the first one to answer that question before we start going out into the world. Because what I want you to understand about guys, and this is where I want to tie everything in, okay? So make sure you're paying attention here. What I want you to understand about men is each different individual man is going to be into a slightly different thing. Depending on a guy's personality, depending on the way he likes to live his life, depending on his past exes, he might be into an outdoorsy type of aesthetic, right? A girl that wears, I don't know, tights every day and, more athletic wear. He might be into a goth girl who's got a whole bunch of chains, right? And got these, flowy skirts and a lot of dark black colors, right? He might be into the tomboy aesthetic, right? Maybe he likes the relaxed look. He likes the girls who have that kind of aesthetic where they're like, just a cool girl hanging out. Maybe he likes the girly aesthetic. He wants you to look like Maddie from Euphoria, right? So you have to understand, finding this aesthetic is finding what speaks to your personality. And when you find what speaks to your personality, your clothes will start to speak to the type of guys that you want to attract into your life, or a particular type of guy, I'll say that, right? Because when you dress a particular way, remember I said this is kind of like an external, it's an extension of your inward personality. So as you extend your inward personality outward, you're going to start attracting like-minded people, right? People who are into that specific aesthetic, whether it be because that they share that interest or they just admire that look, and they're attracted to that look because they're attracted to girls who do those type of things, who are interested in those type of things. Are you following me, right? It's, when people say, what's your type, right? If you ever watched Love Island or Too Hot to Handle, they're always asking, what's your type? What's your type? What's your type? What they're really asking, more than just the, do you like me? Do you not like me? They're asking like, hey, what is kind of the extension of the personality that you gravitate towards the most, right? And the clothing that you choose to wear is an extension of that. I know on Love Island and Too Hot to Handle, they're always wearing bikinis and just swimsuits, and the guys are wearing no shirts, so you're not really gonna get a sense of everyone's aesthetic. But that's what this also speaks to, because each individual person is gonna dress a little bit differently. And when you've honed in on your aesthetic, the way that you dress will speak to your personality. Okay, which is actually a very good thing. You want the way you dress to make you feel confident, but you also want that to speak to your personality, that people can see you and get a sense of the type of person you are based on how you dress. You're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, but it does help if those things are in line, meaning if the way that you are and the personality that you have is in line with the aesthetic that you give off. Are you following me so far? Okay, does that make sense to you guys? I'm really thirsty today. Wow, that was great water. So important, right? I want you guys to start experimenting, if you haven't already, to find your aesthetic. And I'm giving you practical advice, okay? So you rewind this if you missed it, but I told you, you go on Pinterest after you find your favorite, the best way to do this, okay, which I should have mentioned before, find your favorite movie or TV show character, okay, that you like how they dress. Start from there, use that TV show or character, and type that TV show or character into your Pinterest search bar. So, like I said before, if you like Maddie from Euphoria, type in on Pinterest, Maddie from Euphoria aesthetic. Literally, exactly that. When you type that into Pinterest, it's gonna populate with you, not just pictures of Maddie from outfits that she's worn throughout the show, it's also gonna populate for you pictures of girls dressing similar to Maddie. Then you build that mood board off of exactly that. So it doesn't have to be any harder than that. Any show that you enjoy, any movie. Someone said Meredith Grey. Everyone shout out in your chat, who's your favorite movie or TV show character? I want to know, okay? Because that is exactly who you're going to base your aesthetic off of, at least start to build that foundation off of, right? Because if that's your favorite movie or TV show character, that means something about that character and the way that they dress specifically speaks to you, right? Something about the way they present themselves, right? Because trust me, I'm in film and I write as well. When we create characters for a TV show or a movie, how they dress and how they act is not an accident. So a lot of times how the characters dress in the movies and the TV shows speaks to their personality. So when one character's look, right, speaks to you on a personal level, or just their overall character speaks to you, there's a reason for that. Something about the way they present themselves externally is connecting with you. So that's where you want to start off, okay? Someone says I dress like a homeless man. Hey, maybe it's the homeless man that speaks to you on the show, right? Someone said Selena Gomez. I see Doja Cat, right? Jennifer Aniston, okay? Marge Simpson, all right, that's funny, right? So whoever it is, that's where you're gonna start in terms of building your aesthetic. And it's okay, I want you to understand that that aesthetic is gonna attract different guys, but see, the thing about aesthetics is you're not gonna be able to attract every guy, all right? It's just not possible, you're only one person. But we want you to hone in on your aesthetic so that you can start getting good at figuring out who you are, right? And how you fit into the world. All right. Let's get into another important point that I have to explain to you, because if I'm not honest with you about it, I will be doing you a disservice, okay? Look, so, we just talked about this in terms of aesthetics, right? And how they kind of, change things. What did I have here? Tomboy, right? What I want you to get an understanding of, though, is that none of this works unless you solve this issue, which is hygiene, okay? And I know that this show is titled How to Dress, but what you have to understand is there are certain parts of dressing that are super important, okay? Now, let's have a bit of a real conversation here, all right? Let's get serious here. I know we like to have fun on the show. You have to understand one of the most important parts of how you dress. Yes, people might love your yitties. Yes, guys might love your dump truck, okay? I'm sure it's amazing. You also have to understand, though, depending on what you're wearing, how tight it is, how many layers you got on, what color it is, which we'll get to, they may or may not notice your yitties or your dump truck. What is always being noticed, though, is this, your face card, okay? Always. So, even by men, what you have to understand, if you want to know how to dress properly, and you're thinking of all of these aesthetics, right? You're thinking of the girly, the goth, the outdoor, the tomboy, but you're not thinking about hygiene and how important that is, you will be neglecting what is the most important part of dressing well in any aesthetic, okay? Because if you don't look clean, it's not gonna feel very feminine. And if it doesn't feel very feminine, it's going to be very difficult for you to attract masculine men, okay? If you want to, dress more, so much like a man and you want to, your hygiene to be all sloppy, then you're probably going to attract a sloppy man. Remember, I just talked to you about aesthetics and I talked to you about the fact that every guy is into something slightly different. And based on how you're externally verbalizing your personality through how you dress, you're going to attract a specific type of guy. If your hygiene is sloppy, you're more likely to attract sloppy men, okay? I just have to be real with you. And if we understand that hygiene is really important, and we also understand that the thing that you'll never be able to hide is your face card, then we also can put two and two together, that hygiene of the face is the most important part of however you choose to dress your aesthetic, okay? For the guys, at least, if you want to understand what the guys feel and what they want and what they gravitate towards, okay? So taking care of that means you got to brush your teeth, okay? You can't have a white tongue, okay? Right? I'm teaching you guys some stuff that your parents should have taught you. If you don't know what a tongue scraper is, you got to go on Amazon, type in tongue scraper and get you a tongue scraper. Your tongue shouldn't be white, okay? You got to floss. If your teeth are crooked, that's one of the first things you should be saving up money for, okay? I'm just going to be real with you. You're here, you want to understand how to dress so that men are more attracted to you. That is one of the things that must be thought of if we're going to talk about, aesthetics and different things that you can do. That has to be taken care of, okay? And I know some of you are like, well, that's basic. That's pretty straightforward. Well, if I don't address it, but I address everything else, then you don't do these things, then it's not going to work. Okay? And I want it to work for you. So one of the things you have to pay attention to, hygiene, right? Skincare, someone mentioned it here, right? The teeth, super important, right? Think about this. Men are looking at your mouth a lot while you're talking. So if this mouth area isn't taken care of, that's not going to look very good, okay? Even the washed and the brushed hair, I would say at least have it be washed. However you want to present it, because if you're doing the tomboy look or the outgirly look, sometimes, the messy bun is the vibe, okay? I'm not going to judge you however you want to do it, but let's make sure at least it's presentable, okay? I have to make that very clear. So if you're having some skin problems, we got to kind of work on that. We got to kind of figure that out, right? Try different things. And I'm telling you this not as someone who's never tried anything or had any, I tried this myself, okay? I've went and done research myself. I talked to you guys, for those of you guys who are OGs, you know that I use tretinoin, okay? I should have damn near brought my skincare products down here, right? I use, me personally, I use vitamin C. I use, what's the other one I use instead of tretinoin? I use niacinamide, right? I use all of these different things that I've done so much research on to figure out how can I get my face looking as good as possible, right? You guys are here with me. What do you see all the time? You see my face, okay? So if I'm not taking care of my face, it's not going to be very presentable to you. You're not going to be very interested in what I have to say if I look very sloppy, okay? I'm sure some of you guys have your favorite creators, and maybe some of them might look a little bit sloppy. You're not really going to want to know what they have to say when they look very sloppy, okay? It's just the reality of life. So how you dress is also about how you present yourself, which is also about your hygiene. You have to make sure that that's taken care of, especially on the face. Everyone's paying attention to that. Everyone's seeing that all the time. Can't hide that no matter what you do, okay? Does that make sense? So I have to make that a point. Someone says, I can't wait till I get my braces off. Chat, you guys know, you see my teeth? My teeth ain't straight by accident. I had braces myself, okay? So trust me, anything you do here, that's like an investment, because that's the thing that people are seeing all the time. And that's the thing that can either make the dress look amazing or make it look not so good, right? You know, when people say you have natural beauty, what they're really saying is you have really nice hygiene. And by the time your hygiene is so good and your face card never declines, whatever you wear after that looks awesome, okay? It's funny how that works. Okay, so let's hop into number 2. Did you guys know that I had braces? I didn't just wake up like this. I had braces. I used tretinoin. It's crazy. A lot of, I guess we could say a lot of enhancements. Except my nose. You guys always be saying, "Oh, my nose, my nose, my nose." That I was just born with. That didn't work for that one. Okay, let's hop into number 4. All right. Does that make sense? I hope it does. Something to think about, right? Skincare routine. We might have to have another show on that. Skincare routine, different things you can try. Straight teeth, tongue scrubber. Okay. All right, number 4. Now, this is getting actually really specific, okay? And I want this to be very specific. This is going to be funny to some of you guys. There's separate ways to spell colors, but I'll spell it this way, okay? There's different ways to spell color. But I'll spell it this way for those of you who are, I think this is the US way to spell it. So, what I want you to kind of understand in this, what I want you to understand with this is this idea, well, not this idea, okay? CLOR is the US way, and the other way, this is the other way that other people does. So this is the Canadian way that I just spelt it, okay? So just keep that in mind. There's actually 2 different ways to spell it. So what I want you to understand, right? So whether your skin shade is white, you're black, right? You're brown, oops. You're brown, okay? You're light skin, we could even say. So you have to understand, whatever you are, even if you're green, we'll put green down here. Maybe some of you, y'all look sickly. Y'all look like the Grinch, okay? So what I want you to understand is with every skin color, there is going to be different shades that will look better on you, okay? We can add olive, right? Someone said olive. That will look better on you, right? So this is kind of what I want you to visualize. That's actually important. I'm going deep in the weeds here. I'd be trying to really, really help you. Not no BS, halfway talk, okay? So what I want you to kind of take in here, we could even put down a pastel, okay? Different colors of clothing will actually either complement you or wash you out. Let me kind of break this down a little bit for you, okay? So, for example, let's say you are, let's say you're a light-skinned person, right? And you're a light-skinned person and you want to pick out a nice dress to wear on a night out. And let's say for the sake of example, in this example, you choose a light brown dress to wear, okay? But the problem is you're light skin. So when you put on that light brown dress, right, it essentially washes your skin tone out. So you kind of blend in with the dress in a way where people can't tell where the dress starts and where your skin starts. So you might think to yourself, well, Tomisin, what's the problem with that? See, what you want to do in the way that you're dressing, I'm a very visual aesthetic man, okay? So I'm kind of explaining this to you in a way that men probably couldn't, okay? What you want to do is you always want to be wearing your clothes. You don't want your clothes to be wearing you. So what I mean by that is you want your clothes that you pick out to complement your already existing features. You don't want your clothes to be the thing that's, bringing more attention to itself than you're bringing to yourself. You want the clothes to kind of spotlight you and accentuate you in the ways that you're already really awesome and amazing. That way, people start to feel like you're glowing, that you're like this, amazing person. And when they see you, their immediate focus and attention is like on you instead of what you're wearing. Does that make sense? So what you want to do instead of wearing things that will drown you out or wash you out, so to speak, you want to start wearing contrasting colors that will make your skin tone pop, okay? So obviously, all of us are slightly different skin tones, so this is going to affect you differently. And this is where you have to do your own work and figure out what skin tone is the best on me. And for those of you who are a little bit either colorblind or you just don't have the ability to be able to properly, gauge, is this working or is this not working? What I want you to start doing is going to your favorite girlfriend and ask her which one of these colors looks the best on me. So what I want you to try out, just wear the same t-shirt in different colors, right? Multiple different ways, and ask your girlfriend, which color do you think looks the best on my skin tone, right? And if you have multiple girlfriends, ask your mom, ask your sisters. That way, when you get multiple different answers, you'll start to notice a theme. Some people might say, oh my God, you're killing the white, you're killing the green, you're killing the whatever color it is, right? And you'll start to notice a pattern that a lot of people that you're asking are saying the same thing, okay? So let's just say, for the sake of example, in this different example, that you're like a really like you're a dark, black type of person, okay? Let's say you're Congolese or you're East African, right? You have a really dark, beautiful Senegalian, right? Senegalian? You're from Senegal, right? So you have a really dark skin tone. Now, if you have a really dark skin tone, wearing like a light brown or wearing like a pastel type of color would actually look really good on you, because now it's making that darker, richer skin tone pop. Even though it's a brown, it's a lighter brown. So now you have contrasting shades that can really work on your skin tone, right? Vice versa, if you have more of a green, olive skin tone, maybe something that's a little bit more yellow could work for you well, right? Or something a little bit more golden could work for you, okay? And so you have to just get good at kind of mix and matching these things and asking yourself some questions and saying to yourself, which one of these makes me pop, right? Versus which one of these washes me out. And for some people as well, what I want you to kind of take in, right? You might have a situation where a color that is completely opposite of your skin tone just doesn't really suit you well, okay? So I don't want you to be thinking that, hey, just because, red is a popping color, that means everyone should wear red, okay? That's not how that works. Some of you might put on red and be like, this color doesn't really speak to me, and it just doesn't fit my aesthetic. Some of you might put on red and be like, oh yeah, this is me. This is my color. I'm rocking this, okay? And this all depends on your aesthetic. This depends on your skin tone. This depends on your shade. This depends how you rock it. So the reason I say this is because this is part of the experimental process of you building up your aesthetic, building up your look that you feel confident in. And then when you go out, I promise you, once you step out of your house with the confidence, knowing that you look good, everything else when it comes to the men and their attraction to you will follow. So when you pay attention to the details in terms of putting together your look, this attraction will come easy peasy afterwards, okay? So let's hop into point number 5. Does this make sense to you guys? I hope I'm not confusing some of you. I'm talking about color theory. I'm talking about, aesthetics. I'm talking about all these different things. I hope I haven't lost some of you. Were you still with me? Okay. All right. Very, very important. Something to think about at least. Because once you start feeling that confidence from how you dress, hey, you look good, you feel good, they pay good. Wait, no, it's Deion Sanders said, you look good, you feel good, you play good, they pay good. Yeah, the vibes, okay? Trust me, the men will spend that good money on you when you got that good confidence because you wearing them good clothes, okay? Everything good, all right? Let's hop into number 5 here, okay? Number 5. What do I have in here? Okay. Accessories. Okay. So we talked about earlier. We talked about the goth. We talked about girly. We talked about outdoorsy, right? What else did we say? Tomboy, right? All these different types of smart girl. Okay, we can put smart girl here. She's a smart girl, right? All of these different, it's gonna make me mad. Smart. All of these different ways of dressing and how they kind of show you different aesthetics. Now, what I want to kind of show you is that obviously when you're choosing a specific look that speaks to you the most, right? So in the example that I gave you guys earlier, when we talked about Maddie from Euphoria, right? So imagine you chose Maddie from Euphoria as your look, and that is meant to be a girly look here, okay? So obviously, it's not just you. Let me draw this G right. It's not just you dressing like that, right? There's other people who will also choose that aesthetic. But what's very important is you want to figure out, how can I stand out here in this crowd of people who also dress with this same aesthetic, right? They all want to dress like Maddie. That's fine. Okay, Maddie's very aspirational, but I don't want to just look like another girl who dresses like Maddie. I want to figure out how I can stand out in a way that is unique to me while still staying true to my aesthetic. Remember, I told you, when we pick out your aesthetic at the beginning, we're using it as a foundation to build off of. So we're not just going to stay stuck in that aesthetic forever. We want to eventually escalate that aesthetic and not just make it Maddie's aesthetic. We want to make it your aesthetic. Okay, right? We want to make it unique to you, that when people see you dressed up wearing what you wear, they're like, oh, that's so her. Okay? So this is why I say this point number 5 is titled accessories, because accessories is exactly how you're going to try and hone in and build off of your aesthetic and make this look uniquely yours. Okay? Have you ever seen a woman and when you see her walking around, you're just like, damn, she looks expensive. Okay? Or even a guy, when he's walking around and you're like, damn, that guy looks expensive. That person looks expensive. Okay, just the way that they're dressing, even if they don't got no brands on, even if they don't got nothing crazy on, you're just like, no, the way that they're dressed, they look expensive, right? Accessories is a great way to add to that look, make it a little bit more unique and make it a little bit more you. Have any of you watched the movie ATL? Okay, tell me in the chat. I'm curious actually, okay, because I know a lot of my audience is from the US. Have any of you watched the movie ATL that has T.I. in it? Tell me yes or no. It's an older movie. I think it came out in 2006, okay? Right? I want to know how many of you have watched that movie ATL, right? Tell me in the chat. I see some people saying yes, right? Love ATL. No. Okay, I'm gonna make a point here. I'm just curious how many of you have actually watched the movie. Okay, I see some saying no, ATL, not ETL, like ATL, like Atlanta, A and then T and then L. Okay, so in the movie ATL, right? There is a character called Nunu. Okay, so you can search this up after if you type in on Google ATL Nunu. There's a character called Nunu. In the movie ATL, this character Nunu, she's like the main love interest of our main character. You don't need to know too much background about her. She wears these really big golden hoop earrings. I don't even know what it says in between them, right? The actor that plays Nunu is Lauren London, someone said in the chat, right? And in this movie, this character Nunu, she wears these golden hoop earrings everywhere she goes. They're super bright, super shiny. And that's like her signature look, okay? So she's got like a little bit of a 2000s girly, you know, that pink furry coat, furry sweater. It's kind of like the style that Ice Spice wears now, okay? It's probably where she got it inspired from. You see how that works? And she's wearing these gold hoop earrings everywhere that she goes. But it becomes so iconic, that simple accessory becomes so iconic that actually, when people have started building their own aesthetic, they look towards that character and they look at those hoop earrings and they try to build some inspiration off of the fact that that character is so iconic for those hoop earrings. So I say that to say that's exactly how important a simple accessory can be that can really put a signature on your look and make it uniquely you. Because the look, even in ATL, that Lauren London was rocking with, her character was rocking with, right, wasn't a look that no one has ever seen before, but the simple accessory of the hoop earrings, it was a gold hoop earring. I mean, it was literally like this big, okay, right? The gold hoop earrings was such a unique signature part of her aesthetic that it literally made the character iconic. It was part of what made the character iconic. right? And so what I want you to take from that is understanding how important it is to find out what it is your accessories are that you can use for your aesthetic and the type of way that you want to dress to express yourself that will put that that signature, that chef's kiss on each and every one of your outfits and make it uniquely you. It doesn't have to be earrings. Could be a necklace. It could be a specific type of rings that you wear. It could be the way that you wear an anklet. It could be the way you do your socks, whatever, the way you do your hair in a bun or with your waves or with your baby hairs, right? This is where you have to kind of, someone said mine is diamond chokers, whatever yours is, right? And you find your signature, your little twist, your little thing that you're gonna kind of use to put a bow on each and everything that you wear, that when people see you, they're like, oh, that's her. Right? Because surprisingly, the same way we talked about Nunu and her aesthetic, and those of you that have watched ATL know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That is what makes her memorable. So if that works for a character you watch in a movie maybe once or twice, imagine how well that will work for people who are seeing you in real life. And how good that will work for being someone that when they meet you, you're very memorable to them. Right? Because you have that little signature that they're like, oh, the girl from last night, the really pretty girl with the big hoop golden earrings, or the girl from last night, you know, she was wearing that really nice anklet, or she had these high socks, or she was wearing this mesh skirt. I don't know, whatever it is that you want to do, right? She had the chain skirt, whatever it may be. I don't know, right? Whatever you want to do that puts a little bow and a signature on your look that you want to be uniquely you. Okay? That is so important, right? Our trademark, okay? So do these all 5 make sense to you guys and why they're so important, okay? For those of you who missed any of the points, you can always go on my YouTube and rewatch all of the points. Do you guys have any questions about the 5 that we just discussed, okay? Excuse me. For those, like I said, for those of you who missed out on any of the points, you can go to my YouTube channel, Tomisin, Atobatele. I'm pointing to it. If you're on TikTok, go to my YouTube channel because I'm live on TikTok as well. And then you go on there and you can rewind it and find all of the points that I discussed, okay? Does that make sense? You guys have any questions about those 5 and why they are so important to everything that you like to do, okay? Missy America says, what about makeup? That's actually a great question. So I personally think that the aesthetic part is also the makeup part. I'm obviously not an expert in makeup, but part of the aesthetic is how you do your makeup, okay? So I am smart enough to know that the characters in Euphoria have a very unique way of doing their makeup. Actually, ironically, especially Maddie, she does her makeup in a very unique type of way. So when you see the way a girl, because different girls will do their makeup in different ways. Some girls like it to be very light, very natural. Some girls like a specific look, a specific type of blush, a specific type of blend. However, whatever you see around that speaks to you, you use that as your inspiration to help build your aesthetic. Because the aesthetic is the clothes and it's also the makeup. So if you see an aesthetic and they have super huge long lashes, look like they're gonna fly away, and that speaks to you, then that's what you go with and that's what you work with. If you see someone else's look and they look a little bit different, they look like they should be, royalty, like that's the look that they're going with, and that speaks to you, then you use that aesthetic, right? The makeup is also part of building the aesthetic, okay? So someone says, no, Tommy knows too much. I ask a lot of questions, okay? So when I ask a lot of questions, I hear a lot of perspectives. That's how I know a lot, okay? I'm a very curious person, so I like to venture out and learn more than just what's in my little bubble, okay? Does that make sense to you guys? Now, obviously, like I said, today's show isn't about me telling you how you should dress. I know that the title can be quite jarring. Why is a man telling me how I should dress, what I should wear? Now, that's not what I'm doing. But I do know that a lot of you want to understand, how can I be super irresistible to men that I can have all the men stumbling over me and I can pick whoever I want, right? And that's not an unnatural thing to want or desire. So when I'm giving you advice or helping you build your aesthetic or understand how to be super irresistible to men, what I'm trying to help you understand is you have to do that in a way that actually is you. Because if you're too far into left field, being someone that you're not, it's going to be very difficult to maintain that or be confident within that. And confidence is literally the #1 thing that will make or break anything that you wear. Okay? Does that make sense? Very, very important. Someone said, you can get it from BodyCon. I like to shop on Temu, right? It all works the same, okay? Someone says, do men hate wigs and weaves? That's also a preference thing. So remember how I talked about aesthetics. For some men, they will see weaves and wigs and they'll have absolutely no problem with it. For some men, they might see weaves and wigs and they might say, oh, not my thing. So what's more important than thinking, do all men like weaves and wigs, is figuring out, when I wear a wig or a weave, do I feel really good about myself? Do I feel more confident wearing a wig or a weave? If the answer to that question is yes, then do that. And then whoever is attracted to you after you do that is who's attracted to you. But the most important part is doing the thing that brings you your confidence. Because when you have your confidence, that's when you'll be ultra attractive to men. If you thinking to yourself, oh, well, the men don't like weaves and wigs, so I'm not going to wear my weave and wig. But then when you're looking in the mirror, you're like, oh, but I just don't look as good as when I have the wig or the weave. You're going to be walking into that room from an insecure place. Yeah, you have to walk into that room confident, feeling like you're the it girl. That is the most important part of the look. Any look. If you don't feel like the it girl when you walk in, it's none of what you can wear is going to work. Because the confidence that's flowing through you and your aura is gonna shine brighter than the look, okay? And if you don't have that confidence or that aura with you because you don't feel good about yourself, it's gonna rain all over whatever look you decide to wear, okay? It doesn't matter what you decide to wear. Right? Flower says, I don't care what guys want. I do what I want, which is ironically what this show is about, okay? I'm sure some people will read the title and think it's about what men want. It's really not. It's about what you want. But the show is actually about helping you kind of use strategies to figure out what you want and how you want to dress, and then building your confidence up with that, okay? Ironic as it sounds, all right? Doreen says, the first thing you put on is you. I like that quote. I like that quote. Alex says, to be honest, majority of them like no makeup. Let me see what you said here. The majority of them like no makeup. Not being in full glam is rarely a deal breaker. Once again, that's something that, so that's why we had the discussion about hygiene, because when your face card doesn't decline and you have good hygiene, men will more than likely fall in love with anything you decide to wear. Because it's very hard to deny attractiveness in someone who has good hygiene, looks clean, looks feminine, looks nice, okay? And I'm talking about just of the face in itself, right? Looks like you, because that's the biggest sign that you take care of yourself, right? Is that good hygiene. So that's why a lot of the men, once you just have fit that quality, they're already going or rolling with whatever it is that you choose to wear after that, right? Which is exactly why we had that as one of the points, right? Doreen says, you give great advice. I send your videos to my college student. Oh, you have students? Okay, perfect. I seen someone say I'm sending this to my daughter one time. Awesome. Someone says in the YouTube chat, what did you say? I want to read this one. It's so hard dressing hot and feminine when it's winter. I want to dress warm in a big knit. I want to dress warm in a big knit and warm leggings. Oh, you're saying when it's winter? Well, think about it like this, okay? When you're in the summer, there's less options to wear actually because it's hot and you're not gonna wanna wear too many layers. But in the winter, you actually have an option to use a lot of layers to build a really unique aesthetic. So there is a way to look really nice and cute when you're still in the winter. In fact, you have more ways to do that because you can wear more layers. You can wear a sweater and then you can wear a jacket on top of that. You can wear, layers on layers on layers, and you can actually make things look really cool and really neat, right? Obviously, in the summertime, it's very hard to wear a whole bunch of layers because then you'll start to overheat, right? So you have to be thinking about that. It's very possible to do that in winter and even fall. Livy says, doing all of this for men who barely even shower and throw on whatever. This is actually exactly why I said it's about finding your own aesthetic, because your aesthetic is going to speak to any one particular type of guy, right? And if your aesthetic you don't take care of it, and you're sloppy with it, then you're more likely to attract sloppy guys, if that makes sense. Now, I'm not saying that all guys won't like you if you look really good, because all guys will like you, but you get my point, right? You want your aesthetic to speak to who you are internally, right? And we also want your aesthetic to attract men who don't not shower, because I'm sure there's men who shower. We want you to attract those men. We don't want you to attract the dusty men who can't do nothing for you, have no money, broke, have no lives. We don't even want you getting close to those men. That's not what we want for you in the Players Club. We want you far away from those guys, right? Aset says, you doing it for you though. Exactly, which is actually ironically what the show is about. It's like don't tell anyone, but the entire show here, you'll know. So if you read comments on my YouTube when I post this show on my main YouTube channel, right? And you read comments of people saying men shouldn't tell women how to dress, that's how you know that they didn't even watch the show. Because when you watch the show, you'll realize I don't even tell you how to dress. I tell you how to find strategies to figure out what you like to wear, which is the irony of the entire show, which is why I love it. That's how I'll know who's paying attention and who's actually not paying attention. Make it very obvious. Right? Someone says stop making eye contact with Dusties. Yeah, you can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. Aset says, once you do everything for you, everything else will fall in place. I 100% agree. Oh, by the way, I didn't mention this. Should I mention it? Make sure if you have a personal question for me about your relationship or even anything that we discussed here, and you want to ask it personally to me, because obviously I can't get to everyone's questions in the show, go onto my link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube and ask your question to me on a personal note, because I answer all of the questions that get submitted to me through that link. It's called Private Relationship Advice. When you submit your question to me through my Private Relationship Advice link, I answer all of those questions and I get back to you via your email that you use when you send the question in, and I send you back a voice message. To be honest with you, my voice messages are usually 10 minutes long. I'll be super real with you. And I respond to all my personal questions, private questions through there, right? And no one else sees it. We're also gonna get into our Discord time later. So for those of you who wanna get me to answer a question for you and you want it to be live on the show, you can always go into our Discord and put your question in our relationship advice forum, okay? You can access that through the link in my bio on TikTok, and it's also in the link in my bio on YouTube. Just go into our Discord, become a member, and then you can put your question in there, okay? Very, very simple. If you're wondering how to do that specifically, just put it in the chat and one of our moderators will tell you where to go and how to access it, all right? So, Missy America says, is there a link for people who just want to donate too? Well, if you're on YouTube, you can, I guess you can donate on the YouTube thing. I haven't made a specific link for just donating, but maybe one day I'll come up with that as well. Okay. By the way, thank you for the coins on TikTok that you guys have sent me. And let me look at the. There was one super chat. Oh, Storm donated $2 in the super chat on YouTube. She says, "Do you do phone one-on-one coaching?" Unfortunately, chat, I do not do one-on-one coaching. Not because I don't love you all, but I am a very busy man. So I don't have time in the day to do coaching, unfortunately. It would be basically impossible for me to even do anything else if I did coaching on top of doing the show, on top of answering all my private questions. I have a lot of private questions, okay? A lot. I got to spend a lot of time in the day doing my private questions just as it is. All right, chat. Let's hop in to our next section, which is our Reacts segment of the show. Our React segment is where I go through some TikToks that you guys have sent to me about relationships and love and life and some weird stuff. You guys be sending me some weird stuff. But we have fun and we sit down and we watch some of those videos together and we react to them together, okay? So spam up your headphone emojis, spam up your camcorder emojis, spam up your baby oil emojis, because we're filming this in 4K and we're gonna get to our React segment. I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna pull my chair in. While I do that, we're gonna play an intermission video that comes from Margarita. You guys love Margarita. She's gonna be talking about 6 steps to becoming a high value woman. And then I'm gonna join you guys in a minute back on the show and we're gonna start up our React segment. Okay, Margarita, take it away.
Value down to low value women in relationships. It's not always ideal to see women this way, but it really helped me move through life. And within these 6 ranks, one being what I aim to be, I'm gonna break it to you right now. Number 1 is her, being her, become her. That's her. She is her. Okay? She's the queen, the princess, her, whatever you want to name her. I will name the rest accordingly. And this is the key, okay? Women can move through these ranks. It's not like what we have with men, like alpha male, beta male, whatever, where they don't interchangeably change, okay? Women go through these according to, we are all born as her, is what I'm trying to say. And you fall down the ranks in life according to what happens. Yeah? We're all born as her. We're all born as this magnetic, majestic, amazing creature. Number 1, okay? And where you go down the ranks is just dependent on life, and you'll get it as I talk about it, okay? And I will tell you what her is. But before I do, I want to share something very, very special with you. Something very, very interesting has been cooking, okay? And it is my 8-week course called Become Her. I'm not going to say much because you came to this video to watch the content, not to listen to this. But in the description box below, you can opt in until the 21st of June. It's 15% off. And then doors close on the 22nd of July, and it starts, I believe. Anyway, we're only taking people in for 4 weeks. If the link is still working, that means you got on. If it isn't, I'm sorry. But anyway, it's not about that. This is the video, okay? Number 6. Woman number 6 is called the grouch, or stick in the mud, or the nag. I've got my magical book of secrets out, okay, where I've noted everything. The grouch, there's a key that I'm going to tell you about these numbers as well. Women who often see, because we all judge as women, that's what we do. The biggest questions asked of me is about female friendship outside of men, okay? So a lot of times we judge the woman who is the rank above us. That is how we can tell that we're the rank below her. You might identify yourself number 6, number 5, number 4, but the point is to climb through the ranks until you get to number 1. I will tell you which one I am. And no, I am not number 1. I am becoming her. I am trying. I have been her sometimes. I have those moments, but I'll tell you which one I am, okay? So it's not about judgment, it's just about reality, okay?
Rita, thank you so much for helping us understand a little bit more. And we're going to hop into our TikTok segment where we're going to react to some things. I had a question for you guys, chat, and I want you guys to answer this for me, okay? Someone said I understood nothing. It's okay. There's a whole video, right? So she's going to go through the whole thing in her video. We obviously only got to watch 30 seconds. Let me help you guys. Sorry. I wanted to ask you guys a question, and I want you guys to answer this for me. During like Christmas time, or like, because we're obviously in the holidays now, do you all feel, let's say you're single, is that a time where you feel more lonely or you feel more single, like the single feels extra single during Christmas time, or is that a time where you're not thinking about it as much? I'm very curious as to what you guys say, because I know there's kind of ebbs and flows to things like that. But I'm not sure, would Christmas time or holiday season make you feel more lonely, or feel like, oh, well, I'm with family, so it doesn't really matter. My life's full. I have lots to do and things like that. Okay. I see some people saying yes, nope, I feel great, right? Family time equals depression, okay? Lonely sometimes because I'm used to being in a relationship. It depends, okay? I feel more single. I wish I could do a poll. If the mods are able to make a poll, I would love for you to make a poll and ask the chat, which one is it? During holidays time, do you feel like more single, or do you feel like your life is like kind of more full when you're like, you not care as much about being in a relationship? I'm really curious about how that affects the psyche. Okay, let's hop into our first video here.
What boys say versus what they mean. If you ask him to hang out with you and he says, I'll let you know, that's his nice way of saying no. Essentially, he's blowing you off. If he ever says that he's busy, it just means that he has more important things to do than hang out with you. When you're talking to him about something that's super meaningful to you and all he has to say back is, that's awesome or cool, it just means he doesn't care and that he's not interested in what you guys are talking about. If he ever says he likes hanging out with you and you're like,
My favorite thing to do when I actually didn't hear something that someone says, or either don't care or just totally didn't understand, I just go, yeah. I love doing that. So if I do that to you while we're talking, just know I'm probably not listening.
like one of the boys, this is not a good thing. He is essentially friend zoning you. You don't want to be one of the boys because he wouldn't date one of his boys. If you ask him what he's looking for right now and he says he's going with the flow, it means he's talking to multiple women and he doesn't want to commit to just one girl. If he says he doesn't want
Facts.
a relationship right now, it means he doesn't want a relationship with you. If he really liked you, I'm talking head over heels in love with you, he would not pass up the opportunity to keep you all to himself.
Also, I think that some guys are in a state where they're not even. You have to understand that not all men have direction. So when you're thinking to yourself, well, he should know that he wants to date me and know that he wants a girlfriend. Some men don't even know that. All they know is I play the video games that I like to play. I try to go through life on as easy and as painless as possible. And I would love to be able to get to sleep with girls without working for them, doing anything for them, buying them anything. Like all they do is go through life trying to make it as easy as possible, right? With as little resistance as possible. So for some men, like the idea of like working for a relationship and investing into it is just uninteresting to them. So those are men you just want to stay far away from.
If he says, let's talk about this later, essentially he's hoping that you forget about the conversation and don't bring it up again. What boys say versus what they mean. If you ask him to hang out, he says, let's talk about this later, essentially he's hoping that you forget about the conversation and don't bring it up again.
I mean, that's what she's talking about, is assuming this is a guy that is kind of being wishy-washy with you, that's not your boyfriend. Because obviously, like, there's a mature way to say this, like, this just isn't an appropriate time for us to talk about this. But for the most part, she's right. Because if you're just talking to someone who's not really showing you signs of being serious with you, and they say, let's talk about this later, they just, yeah, they do want you to forget. Okay, so she's talking about a very specific type of like situationship, which is kind of a lot of what I talk about. So we're kind of aligned there. Okay, let's go on to our next video.
This is what I've learned being locked away for almost half a year with 5 adult men as a 21-year-old woman in a foreign country.
What? She was locked away with 5 men? What? Wait. Hold on. Let's restart this one.
This is what I've learned being locked away for almost half a year with 5 adult men as a 21-year-old woman in a foreign country. Men prefer feminine women over pretty women. You could be a 10 out of 10 Victoria's Secret model, the most aesthetically pleasing features, the most gorgeous body and everything. But if your energy is quite competitive, masculine, the go-getter, hyper-independent that triggers his masculine instinct to compete with you, he's not interested. Men are very visual, so looks do matter, but what matters more is your feminine energy. It's the one thing that men crave and go crazy for. It's the way you touch your hair, it's the way you fix your makeup, it's the way you hold yourself, it's the way your body speaks before you even open your mouth. They value feminine sensuality. Wearing skirts, wearing dresses, it's something that men don't really get access to. A lot of men differentiate between sex and love.
The only part I'll kind of disagree with is the skirts and dresses. I mean, yeah, like theoretically, yeah, skirts and dresses are more girly. But if you don't feel good in skirts and dresses, maybe you like wearing jeans more. Maybe you like wearing cargo pants more. Whatever it is, you have to find, like we actually talked about today, what speaks to you first. Because for some of you, it might be different. And you kind of have to find what speaks to you and then work off of that. Like you can still be feminine and wear a pair of jeans. That's not, just because it's not a dress or a skirt, it's not feminine, okay?
Love. Women tend to only feel lust and desire and attraction with the men that they're in love with, where men can literally feel lust and desire for.
Or maybe I'm wrong. Sorry. Can you guys not feel as women, are you still capable of feeling feminine if you're wearing jeans and heels, or is it only in a skirt that you can, or a dress you can feel feminine? Unless I'm mistaken here.
Any women out there. When a man is in love, he's usually not really interested in other women. If he does end up cheating on you, it's not because he doesn't love you, but because in his own moral compass, he just preferred his lust and his convenience and his desire to have sex with someone else over the loyalty to you, but it doesn't mean that he didn't love you. There is nothing on this planet that men value more than female validation. Everything a man does, the clothes he wears, his watch, the car he drives, the shoe he wears, the job he's performing in, the strength when he goes to the gym, everything a man does at its core, it is for your female validation. There's nothing.
Okay. I want to say this without being mean. I don't think that's true. I actually think it's the opposite. I think that the men do that for male validation, not for female validation. Because the reason I say that is not because men don't care about women. I'm not saying that, but I think they care about how the woman represents themselves to other men. So if I have a really beautiful, gorgeous woman that no man has ever slept with, I must be the man. So other men will see me and recognize that I'm the man because you can't have access to my girl and she's beautiful and she's gorgeous. The only type of men that get access to women like this are the men who are at the top of the mountain. So weirdly enough, it ends up being a way for them to step on peasant men and kind of show their strength and beat their chest like a gorilla, okay, would, and show that they're an alpha male by having the fastest car, the biggest house, the most beautiful woman, right? So as weird as it sounds, it's not really for the female validation, it's for the male validation, which is actually exactly why I tell you guys in your reactions, don't give them the reaction that they can go in front of their boys and tell a story to make themselves look like an alpha. So that's why I tell you, don't go crazy on men. Don't crash out. Don't send them long paragraphs. Don't call them freaking out, yelling and screaming, because those are amazing stories for those guys to go to other men, get male validation from them and say, look, this girl went crazy on me, yelling, screaming, burning my clothes, cutting up my Jordans, cutting up my everything because I laid it down on her. You know, I digmatized her when she's cutting up all my stuff, calling me 35 times, screaming and yelling. And that becomes a way for him to get male validation from his boys by showing them how crazy he makes another girl. So it's actually really centered around male validation, not the female. I would say, at least for men.
More hurtful to a man than female rejection. Nothing can break a man more than being rejected by the woman that he loves. No physical pain can compare. And this is something a lot of women don't understand because men are so testosterone fueled, they're always so strong and they always show up, and sometimes it's very intimidating to women. But women forget that that's just a physical shell. Internally, a lot of men are big softies. They're very insecure and they have a very fragile ego. And men are shit scared of being rejected by a woman. That's why a lot of times when you think he's not making an effort or he doesn't like you or maybe he's not into you, in reality, he's just shit scared of asking you out and making.
Great. So cool. Some men are scared. Yeah, they're shy. Yeah, who cares? You don't give a rat's behind about the men who are too shy, too scared, too nervous to come up to you, to approach you, to ask you out on a date. If that man is too shy, too scared, too nervous to take you out and ask you out, you say, okay, cool. Take your shy self, go sit in front of your laptop and keep playing your video games and be shy forever. I'll go and I'll be on the dates with the big dogs who can actually take me out, can actually approach me, can actually do the things necessary to build a relationship with me. Because you damn sure what you're not going to be doing is trying to be the man for the man and be like, oh, I feel so bad that you're so shy. So, oh, you know what? Since you can't ask me out on a date, I'll approach you and I'll ask you out on a date because I know how much you like me and I know how much you want this to work. So I'll do it for you because you're so... No, you don't do that. Never. Not in a million years.
The first move. As a woman, you either trigger his masculine instinct to compete with you or to protect you. This is why a lot of men grow bored of you or don't want to be with you anymore or grow resentful of you because you've been doing so much for him that he feels in his masculinity triggered to compete with you. Because the more you do for him, the less he wants to do for you. If you want this man to stay in love with you and actually still pursue you and put an effort into you, you need to trigger his masculine instinct to protect you. And you do it by letting him be the man. You don't compete over him by all of a sudden wanting to carry the luggage in yourself, by sitting over the dinner table and competing with his stories, rolling your eyes, yawning because he's just mansplaining something. That way, men will grow resentful of you. If you really break a man's ego, it will trigger aggression. This is why a lot of times ex-boyfriends talk bad about you, try to take you down. They're very aggressive with you. They make assaulting comments. They're just dirty, going down bad ways.
I actually agree with this, right? If the ego is so fragile for men, but this is the good thing for you as a woman. You can actually, don't tell anyone, okay? This is our little show. We're in the Players Club. The ego is one of the main ways you're going to be able to control a man. So if you're thinking in your mind, I want to get him to do this, I want to get him to do that, how do I get him to do this? It's not by yelling or screaming or even asking. It's by understanding, how can I trigger his ego or use his ego, don't tell him, I know it sounds horrible, to control him through the aspect of understanding that ego is one of the most important things to men. Are you following me? And when you understand that, and you understand how ego is affected by different things that you might say or do, or different things that he might perceive or receive from you, a relationship, or from other people, that's where you understand the key of how to actually control a guy, okay, in honest truth.
But it's because they know that you're better than them. They feel so humiliated and embarrassed by being rejected by you, maybe because you broke up with them, or maybe because you made a snarky comment, or whatever it is. When you, as a woman, break a man's ego, he will not show you that he's hurt by it. He will not show you what you've done and the consequences of how vulnerable he is and how small he feels. It will literally backfire in aggression. So whenever a man is aggressive towards you, it means there's a lot of love for you, but he cannot communicate it because his ego is too fragile and he's too insecure. So it turns out the other way, which is pure hate. Love and hate
So you guys are asking me to give you an example of ego and understanding how to use ego to control someone. I gave this example when we talked about how to, get a man to spend his money on you. So let's say, for the sake of example, you want to get another purse, right? And you want this guy to buy you another purse. Then you tell him this whole story that, oh my God, the last time that we were, let's just say you guys love going to basketball games together, whatever it may be, okay? He likes going to NBA games. And you're like, oh my God, when we go to these NBA games, because you're a season ticket holder, I always want to bring you some extra like deodorant or water or some of the things that you need, chapstick, and carry it all in my purse. But the one that I have, it's so small, so teeny, eeny, wincy, bincy, I can barely fit anything in it. And I want to bring all this extra stuff for you because I know all the things that you need and you ask for, and I want to make sure I have them for you because I love going to the games with you. I love spending that time with you. I love that we get to share in that experience. And I wish if only a big, strong man could solve my problem of having such a teeny weeny itsy bitsy purse that's so itsy bitsy small I can barely see inside it. And then you say nothing. And then he says, I've got an amazing idea. I love being with you and spending this time with you and being around you. And I love the basketball games. I got you. I seen this amazing Telfair bag at the store. And I know it's nice and big. You can fit whatever you want inside it. Daddy's got you, right? And then he goes and he gets you a bag. Oh my God, I didn't even think of the Telfair bag, the big one. Oh, you did the big one. Oh my God. I had such an incy-wincy small purse. And you, such a big, smart, amazing man. You came and you solved my problem. Yeah, I am such a big. You get what you want, right? And you understand that you get what you want, not by begging or forcing him to do it, but understanding how ego will control a man. And I'm telling you the honest truth, okay? Right? Ego will control the man. So if you understand ego will control the man, you figure out what triggers the ego, whether in a good or a bad way. You get a lot of things that way. And the thing about it is, yes, it's manipulation, but actually everyone is happy. Because you're happy because you get what you wanted, and he's actually happy because he feels like the man doing the thing for you. So don't think that it has to be a situation where, I won and he lost, right? It can actually be a situation where when I took this approach, I won because I received what I wanted out of him, but he also won because he feels good about himself and he feels like the man. So everyone wins and everyone's happy. It doesn't have to be a one or the other. Okay, right? So just remember that.
Here's how you know you're compatible. It's a simple question grounded in social science. See, I'm a relationship scientist. I've matchmade hundreds of thousands. I love this question. Ask somebody, if you had 1 year left to live, how would you spend
I'm
it?
sorry. Did he say he's a relationship scientist? What is that? I don't know. I'm not that. Okay, I'm just a regular
That's what
human
I've
being.
learned.
I want to make sure he said that.
Here's how you know you're compatible. It's a simple question grounded in social science. See, I'm a relationship scientist. I've matchmade hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, he's probably smarter than me. I'm not that. I'm not a relationship scientist, so I've never even heard of that occupation. Let's go on.
I love this question. Ask somebody, if you had 1 year left to live, how would you spend it? You see, this nails down something called value congruence. There's no wrong answer, right? It could be anything. Family, love, sex, money, legacy. There's no wrong answer, but you better like theirs because they're telling the truth. This is how they prioritize their values.
Okay, I'm not a relationship scientist, so my version of this question might be stupid, okay? I'm just a regular person. My version of this question that he just said here is, if money wasn't an issue and you could spend the rest of your life doing whatever it is that your heart desires, what would you be doing, right? It's kind of meant to answer the same thing, right? That he's asking here, right? What would you do if you only had 1 year left to live? But it's trying to get an understanding of, aside from making money, right? Because we all say, oh, I'll make money. That's what I want to spend my time doing. Okay, so eliminate money. What do you actually want to do with your time, right? When you just have nothing but time. And that question will stump a lot of people if they don't have purpose to their lives. Because if they don't have purpose to their lives, then their answers will be, I'm not sure what I'd do. I'd sleep. I'd go on vacation. I'd travel. Okay, you travel and do what? I don't know. Just travel, right? Around. Doing what? I don't know. Just looking at the stars, right? Because they're not sure what they are actually trying to extract from life outside of just making money. That's not an extraction from life, right? What are you trying to pull out of your experience in life? What do you want out of life? What do you look towards? What gets you excited, right? Those are the things that you should be spending your time doing if money is not an issue, right? And a lot of people that don't have that answer, that will tell you a lot about where they are in their life, right? And where they'll be in the future if they don't have that answer, because it means that they're missing a lot of purpose, okay? That's a whole nother story for another day. But very smart relationship scientist, probably a smarter man than me, okay?
Things men will never tell women, but are very obvious. A lot of times when you got to try to force him to catch the hint that you like him, it'll put you on his radar, but not in the way that you expected it. In the minute you're sweating over that you think he hasn't caught the hint yet, yeah, he already knows that you have a crush on him, by the way. A good chunk of men that y'all have a crush on already know that you have a crush on them, simply because you're just not good at hiding it. You wear your heart on your sleeve, or you just outwardly project your emotions very visibly. And I don't need to go into detail about how displaying that can get you easily manipulated. You already know. Also, if your flirting technique is very straightforward, it won't work on them unless you're that it girl that they actually wanted. And right now, you're not that girl.
Straightforward flirting doesn't work on any man. Unless he doesn't get any girls, then straightforward flirting works. Any guy who gets girls, right, is an attractive man who has, options. Don't straightforward flirt with him. Let him feel the vibes out, but never actually feel like, oh, I'm 100% positive she likes me. So you're going to flirt with everything except your words, your body language, your eyes, your look, right, your smile. Not your words. You're never going to tell him, I like you. I really want to be with you. You're so, no. Okay? No straightforward flirting for you.
It only works for her, or if you just so happen to fit their criteria perfectly, which is unlikely since they already barely acknowledge your existence right now. And on top of that, you really shouldn't live up to the expectation of somebody else's definition of perfection if they don't even acknowledge you. There should definitely be other reasons y'all are together than to just satisfy their needs. So when this ninja finally directs his attention to you, it's usually not for a relationship. It's usually just a smash pass offer, and when they act all surprised that you got a crush on them, they're really just trying to build up the heat of the moment. They know that you like dramatics and they know that you fall for it. A lot of people talk about, oh, his reaction was organic. No, it wasn't. He already knew you existed, but now he's only going to keep you around for one thing. If you have to force him to see you, he simply doesn't with you. He knows that you exist. He just doesn't with you. So in the end result, I hear a lot of, I'm going to show him differently. You can't show him differently if he doesn't even like you. Like this notices his DMs. He's just saving yours for a rainy day. But a lot of people tend to give him the benefit of the doubt as if he didn't see it, when in reality, he was ignoring them. And a lot of times that can confuse y'all and give y'all an extra layer of mystery to him that doesn't even exist. He'll make that a part of his story as if he was analyzing your character without actually speaking to you. At this point, everything is ammunition. And then eventually he settles for you, not because he wanted to, but because he realizes that you're the most convenient body throwing yourself in his direction. Now, he'll take anything that he can get at that moment, but you wanting him makes it much easier. He knows that it's going to take minimal effort, sweet nothings, and empty promises to make you his. Even promises ain't promised. He gonna get what he wants and get up out of there. He gonna keep you around for some fun, but that's just about it. He'll tell you those sweet nothings. He'll promise a relationship, but you're never gonna get it. He just needs you as a means to erase his urges for that evening. Things men will never...
Why did he try to end it so studious, right? He just needs you as a means to his ends for his urges. Okay, anyways, great video. So here's the thing that I'll add to that. So how do you counteract that? When you're throwing out your flirting, you're not gonna do straightforward flirting because that's gonna put you in a bad position. Your feelers are always going to be your subtle flirting. And if you're noticing he's not reciprocating that energy back, or he's not taking the extra mile and saying, okay, now that I'm feeling some of the flirting, I'm going to say, hey, you want to go out on a date? I'm going to say, hey, I want to get to know you more, right? If he's not taking that step and you're thinking to yourself, oh boy, why isn't he taking the step? Does he not like me? Is he not noticing that I'm giving him the signs? Then you'll start convincing yourself, maybe I need to make the sign more obvious. No, what you need to do is take the sign that he's sending you that he's actually not that interested. Because a man who's that interested, as soon as he feels the okay or the green light, he'll be taking his own step forward. And if he's not, that's because he doesn't have the interest in taking his step forward. So you guys are always asking, well, how do I shoot my shot? How do I approach a guy that I like, or tell a guy or show a guy that I like him or get him to approach me, right? It's not your job to actually approach him, but when you want to set those feelers out, you're setting those feelers out and those subtle hints, and you're seeing what he does with that. If he doesn't bite on that, then you have to use that as your own answer to say, oh, well, he's just not interested, right? Don't think that making it more obvious makes it, gives you a more of a possibility of it actually working. You understand what I'm saying? Because if it does work, then it just ends like this, like he described here.
The psychology behind why women chase men that ignore them. When a man is ignoring a woman, he is directly striking that biological need of hers to be with the best man. The women want to be with the best possible mate they can be with. So when you're a guy begging her to go out with you, showering her with compliments and validation and gifts when she hasn't earned it, you're telling her that you're not the best guy for her. Because men with options, they're not going above and beyond to impress a girl. So women chase men that ignore them because those men are in abundance. Those men are signaling to her that they are a better mate than you. Human beings, we want a prize.
Someone said, was that a video to himself? No, someone sent this to me.
This is why we love things that are scarce. The more scarce you are, the more valuable you are. That's why women chase men that ignore them. The psychology behind why.
So what you can take from this video, even though this was centered around him talking to other men, is, like I tell you guys all the time, relationships is like war. Everyone's fighting for control. So understand that the men are trying to prove something to you, hold their own piece of leverage so they can get what they want from you. You have to stay sane and realize that you, in reality, right, he can slice it and dice it, and we can all slice it and dice it every which way that we want. But at the end of the day, even the guys who are coaching men, trying to help them become, get more girls and things like that, notice that everything for the men is centered around getting more girls. So they still have to go out and seek to try to receive something that you already possess. So the essence of that means that from the beginning of any relationship that you have with a man, you have leverage because you're holding something that he is seeking, right? I'm not just talking about what's in between your legs, but the whole idea and of the dynamic is that he is trying to get something that you already possess. So you don't have to worry about trying to like, oh, you're losing out on an opportunity or you're investing too much or anything like that. You just have to remind yourself that the leverage begins with you in the driver's seat. And only if you start making mistakes or giving away all of your power and your leverage is when that dynamic changes, okay? But if you're smart and intelligent, you join the Players Club, you start learning about all these different things, you understand how to keep your leverage as strong as possible for as long as possible in the relationship. And you don't give up that leverage unless you start seeing heavy investment from him. Because guys will try to trick you into giving up that leverage. And once the balance of power is flipped, then the guys get to do and say whatever they want with you, okay? Including just ghost you and never speaking to you again, right?
Perception of you in the beginning, there's no pussy popping, no money spending, no cooking skills that's going to get that man to change his mind. Hey girlies, welcome back to another Talks with Joe. If this is your first time here, welcome to the party. My name is Joshia Murray. I'm the girlie that's going to teach you to upgrade your life.
We gotta skip ahead again.
Learn. You do not learn how to make happiness in any situation or in your present. You will always be chasing the next dopamine hit. So when it comes to men, if you feel that a man is your happiness, you are going to be chasing behind men forever. You have to learn how to find happiness in your current moment. I'm learning to enjoy every single stage of my life that I am in until I reach the life that I want. And I have noticed that when I started to do that, there are times when I'm sitting down by myself and I realize, oh shit, I'm really living what I asked God for a few months ago, a few weeks ago, or a year ago or two. Okay, number 2. No man is worthy of that much of your time where you have to go in overdrive to chase them to see your worth. If you like wasting time, then continue to do that. You know, if you want to like, you know, you want to continue wasting your time and you like wasting your time, then continue chasing men. But I have learned that no man is worth me chasing that much. No man is worth that much of my time. No man is worth that much of the space in my brain.
So that's why I talked to you guys about the fact, like literally in the last video, you always start off with leverage. So if you start off with leverage, then you don't have to do anything. You have the leverage. All you have to do is focus on keeping your leverage so that you don't get into a position where you now have to start begging him for things or asking things of him. All he's going to be doing when he wants something from you is asking you for your time, asking you for your energy, asking you for to have some, you know, be able to be with you. He needs something from you. So as long as you just focus that time on evaluating him and not over investing yourself back into him, you'll keep your leverage, you'll keep your power, and you'll be in a much happier place, whether or not you end up with him. Because when you're not investing too much of your energy into another guy and then he shows himself to just be not who you're looking for, it's not going to hurt as much because you weren't investing a whole lot into that guy anyways. You were just allowing him to pursue you and you were evaluating him as he was pursuing you, right? I'm not saying you can't like guys, but you want to avoid overextending yourself where you start going down this like death spiral, okay?
Ladies, let me tell you something. The guy that you want, he's not going to chase you. All right. A lot of times when you see girls in relationships and they're explaining, oh yeah, he chased me. It's because that was the guy that she didn't really want. Because as people, we have intuition and we can feel when somebody really wants you, right? Most of you girls have an experience of dating or talking to a guy that was exactly your type, exactly what you wanted, and you know his ass never chased you. So I don't know why you guys are lying to the world and to yourself. The guy that you want never chases you. Why? Because he understands his value and he knows that you do too. If you want the guy that you want, stop being insecure, let go of your past, be optimistic, and give him equal effort. If he's not giving you equal effort, if he's ghosting you, then you walk away. But don't expect the guy that you want to chase you.
Theoretically, sounds good if we're living in a kumbaya, hold hands, sing kumbaya world. I personally don't think we live in that world. And so, yeah, it sounds good to say, yeah, give equal effort to the guys, just match the energy exactly how he's matching the energy with you. The problem is the guys that like you the most, invest in you the most, and they invest in you when they feel like they like you just a little bit more than you like them. And they have to do just a little bit of convincing to get you to like them or see them or notice them. And it sounds horrible, but we as human beings are addicted to feeling like we have to, especially the men, are addicted to feeling like we just have to work a little bit harder for something. So he can say, yeah, you know, the men, they know their value and they don't chase and things like that. But I assure you, I promise you, if he felt like he had, and this is where the balance comes in, you're not going to make men feel that you're uninterested in them. You're going to make them feel like you have interest in them, but they have to sell you on the idea that you should be with them. I promise you, even him, if he saw the baddest girl he's ever seen in his life, all the features that he wants, the background that he likes, the type that he likes, the talking, the walking, the look, the aesthetic, the dress, the clothes, the pants, the jeans, whatever it is, and she has everything, and he's seen her, and he felt like, oh, damn, like, I feel like she's feeling me a little bit too, but I'm not really sure. I want to ask her out on a date. And he asked her out on a date, and he felt he was getting somewhere, but he was like, damn, I got to make sure I play this right. I feel like I'm getting somewhere, but I feel like, you know, I got to work for this, right? I promise you, he would do that work if he really felt it was necessary. And he wouldn't be that worried about the fact that, oh, is she showing me exactly equal effort? No, what he'd be worried about is she okay with this? Do I feel like I'm progressing? Do I feel like this is working, right? Do I feel like I'm getting her? That's all they're worried about, really, right? If we're talking about chasing from the standpoint of guys feeling like they're not getting anywhere with you, then sure, there's some guys who don't want to feel like they're not getting anywhere with you and that you're uninterested. But I promise you, you show yourself to be someone that he desires and wants to get to know. All you have to do is show him just enough interest that he feels like he's getting somewhere and his work is actually helping him, you know, get closer to you and eventually get you. That's all the guys really need. They don't need you to give equal effort or go above and beyond or scrub the floor or anything like that, okay? And that's the perfect dynamic that guys actually feel the most comfortable in. I know, you know, when men try to make it very simple and sound very simple, oh, just give him the same energy back. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work, okay? If it worked that simply, then none of us would need this show, okay? I'd be doing something else. You'd be doing something else. We wouldn't have to worry about talking and discussing relationships because it'd be so simple, right? Just give the same energy back, whatever. Anyways, let's hop into our next segment of the day. You guys know what segment that is if you've been here for a while. So please spam it up in our chat here if you know what segment is coming. It's an amazing time. It's a special time. It's a time where you're going to definitely laugh and you might even cry as well, okay? Don't look at your watch. Don't look at your clock. Don't look at your phone. Don't look anywhere else in your entire home. If you don't know the time, I'm going to tell you the time. Discord time. Yeah. Okay, chat. Let's hop into our Discord segment of the show. Enough fooling around. Now, I'll explain to you that are new how this exactly works, okay? So, our Discord time is essentially where all the members of our Players Club community get an opportunity to ask me a question about their situationship or relationship, and I answer it live on the show. Okay, so let's open up the Discord here. Now, we have a few ways for you to submit your question that I answer it on the show. The first way is through our free section, our free relationship advice forum, where you can send your question. That link's available in my TikTok bio or in my description. Go to our Discord, Players Club Discord, and then drop in your question in our relationship advice forum. Now, you can see here all these highlighted questions I haven't gotten to yet. So I have to, is there something about it? Oh my God. Okay. I haven't gotten to any of these yet. So it's a first come, first serve basis. So if you ask your question in this form here today, I won't be able to get to it today. It's probably going to take me like a week or like maybe a week and a half. But I will eventually get to it. Now, if you're impatient and you don't want to wait that long for your question to get answered, you want it to be in 24 or 48 hours, you can put your question in our Discord premium section. And this section is like a skip the line pass because I read my premium questions before I go into our free section. And you get into the premium section by donating to the show. So the link to do that is in my TikTok bio or the link in my description. Click where it says Premium Relationship Discord Advice. And then you click that, you donate to the show. While you donate, it's going to prompt you to put in the title of your username and the title of your question. When you do that, it's going to send me a notification on my phone and it's going to show me that that's you and that's your question. That way it's verified that your question is supposed to be here and you'll get to skip the line. Okay. We also have, if you don't want to send in your question, and I read it on the show, you also have the ability to send me a private relationship question just to me. I answer it via voice message and I send it back to your email when you send in your question, and it doesn't get read out on the show or anything, but at least you'll hear my voice and it will be a direct response to your situation. That is also in my TikTok bio and in the link in my description. Click where it says private relationship advice. Okay. Let's start off with our first question here, which comes from Baby Blue. Okay. So, wow. All right. The title of this question is Weird One. Hi, Tommy. That's an interesting situation. Sorry, I think you meant to say there's an interesting situationship which happened to me for the first time. Okay. The guy who's 26, I've been dating for 5 months now, has recently been putting off having pineapples with me. He's been putting it off. Okay. We're not officially together yet, but we have slept together multiple times already. But he's the one. Okay, so this is definitely going to be weird. Since a month and a half now, he keeps asking me out on dates. We spend quality time together for hours on end. Go to tea houses. You go to tea houses? Okay, you living in London? Crumpets and tea? Okay. Bars, play board games, parks, walks, etc. Each time the date is about to end, I expect he'll invite me over to his place. Okay. As we're always making out when we're together, and it's very steamy. Okay. So like you're tongue kissing him? Okay. So I'm anticipating that we'll have pineapples at the end like before. I never invite him to my place, only go to his. However, lately, he's been giving excuses like it's a total mess at my place. Okay. Or I have work early tomorrow. Interesting. But keeps asking me to hang out each and every week. We have long, vulnerable, and heartfelt conversations. He's sharing much about his inner world, and we always have much chemistry and physical contact like kissing, hugging, and holding hands. He always pays for everything and asks me to text him when I get home safely from the taxi. Why this change of behavior? Isn't that what girls do when they want a guy to commit? They withhold physical intimacy? Okay, this is a good question, and I see why you titled it Weird One. Okay, obviously it would be not right if I were to make assumptions on a situation of what someone is doing if I can't actually verify that or don't have any real evidence to point towards that. But what I will say is this makes me feel like, and obviously I don't have all the information, it makes me feel like there is something going on at his place that could either be what a woman, like another girlfriend, right? His real girlfriend, or some sort of situation. That's the main thing that my mind goes to, right? Because if he is nervous to invite you over to his place, maybe it might not even be that his girlfriend is there at that moment. It could just be that he knows his girlfriend spends a lot of time there and she has her stuff there. She has her bag, her clothes, her underwear and on the sink, her toothbrush, and he knows that if you were to come over, that you would see that. Okay. Someone said maybe he's a hoarder. I doubt it because she says that she slept with him before and, like she's been to his place before. Right. And so, I mean, I'm assuming you've been to his place before. You didn't specifically say that, but you did say you slept with him before. Right. So, and you slept with him multiple times and he's never came over to your place. So obviously that must have been at his place. So if you've been over to his place before and you can verify it wasn't weird when you went over that time, it makes me feel like something has changed at his place that would change the fact that he feels comfortable or uncomfortable now having you at his place. It's not going to be, oh, the place magically got so dirty that can't come over, okay? Especially if he knows that this is a regular pattern. You said that you've been dating for 5 months. And so the pattern is that you guys go out on dates all the time. And every time you guys make out and it gets steamy and you're thinking it's going to lead to going back to his place. So if you're able to identify that pattern, that means he's also able to identify that pattern, which means that if he was actually being smart and anticipating what was going to happen, he would know to clean up his place so that he can invite you over. Having that happen one time, sure, a coincidence, but having that happen multiple times when he should be able to anticipate that he would have to clean his place because you might come over after makes it not even a realistic excuse because he should know you're going to come over after and then he should know to clean up his place. So the reason I say that is because something else is going on. And usually in a situation like this, obviously I don't know for sure, so I'm just making an assumption. In a situation like this, it usually means he's either got another girl like currently at his place, like living there, or he's got some sort of situation with another girl that he doesn't want you to be onto him when you go over to his place and see what's going on there. Okay? So that's why I say that. Because that's not an accident that he goes from sleeping with you to all of a sudden he doesn't want to invite you over to his place. That's very, very, very strange, especially considering he's going on dates consistently with you and considering he has no problem being attracted to you, making out with you, touching, feeling on you, getting it nice and steamy like you said, okay? It's very steamy, but he doesn't have the desire to bring you back to his place. That sounds like some sort of conflict internally because a guy that's horned up, trust me, there's nothing more focused on an end goal than a guy who's horned up and is ready to go and revved up and has been through a nice steamy makeout session, okay? Meaning, if he's horned up, going through a steamy session, and he's still not inviting you back to his place, that has to be something really strong, really important, and really impactful that he doesn't want you to see at his place. So keep that in mind, right? As a guy, knowing that this is happening and he's still not asking you to come back, something very big is at the place. So I think you're not going to get the answer by just asking him, but I think on the next date that you go on, start asking him questions about his life and what he's doing and what he spends his time doing when he's not with you. And you're going to have to start digging in that field and see if things stop making a little bit of sense. Because if you're starting to notice things aren't making sense, then it's more than likely that free time that isn't accounted for is the girlfriend. Right? Someone said, or he doesn't have a home. She's been to his place, I'm assuming, because she slept with him before. So it's not that she doesn't know where he lives or know if he has a home. She's been there, I'm assuming, based on what she said, right? So if that's the case, then something has changed. Something has been changed, okay? Let's go on to our next question. Let me see here. Okay, that one was deleted. Those ones were put in our premium section. Okay. Is it okay to validate a guy on his D game? This is the first time ever I'm actually going to take a stretch before I even read a single sentence. Okay? I'm going to get up. I'm going to stretch. And we haven't even gotten into the message. Okay? Okay. All right. I just know I can tell. Oh boy. I can tell with the title of the message, I'm not going to like the contents. So I'm just going to go ahead and realign, oh boy, my chakras. Stretch out my back here. My legs, do the downward dog and things like that. Because I know this is not going to go anywhere good. Okay? So, gonna prepare my mind, body, and soul for whatever you're gonna say here. Okay, complimenting men on their D game. All right, beautiful one. 29 and not dating currently, but want to be prepared. I tend to become a guy's number one fan once he puts it down on me. I start to happily do peasant things like hop out of bed and cook for him at 2 a.m. That's if you know that you're like that, I'm so serious here. If you know that you're like that, your best bet is to not even sleep with the guy. Like if you know that the when he D's you down, it just goes straight to your brain, right? The sperm cells go straight to your brain. They affect your brain's chemistry. Don't even sleep with him. I'm actually so serious. Okay, for you as well. If you're ovulating, don't even go on the date. We want you far away from D as possible. Far away. Okay. If you're ovulating, don't go on the date. If he asks you over to us, don't go on the date. Don't go into his bed. Don't look at his sheet. Don't even look at a picture of his bed. We don't want you anywhere near the bed. I would tell him how beautiful he is. His blank game is much, I think might say better. Oh, how much wetter he gets me than any other man ever had. So, but that's a lie though, because every new guy that you D's you down, you say that to him. So that's not even the truth. You're just, does that make you horned up to say that? Why are you saying that to guys when you're just, that's the new guy you're dating now? That gets you horned. Is that dirty talk for you? How skilled he is at XYZ. So you like to talk through it. Okay, you're a talker. That's what you're trying to say, right? That's your thing, clearly. And I'm not sure if all of that praise is going to make him feel like I'm not going anywhere. Okay, so let's be clear here, because you're saying this as if you're saying this afterwards, but this sounds like you're a horned up monster. So I'm getting the feeling as if what you're talking about, what you say to him, you say this in the moment. So this is like your dirty talk. Okay? I'm going to make that assumption. Okay? I would pour on the compliments and praise even if I felt and said the exact same thing about the last. I literally, oh my God, I have chat. You guys know I don't read this ahead of time. And I literally just mentioned that why are you saying this to guys when that's obviously not true? Because if you're saying it to every guy, that new guy, it's just the new guy. That doesn't mean it's actually the guy who's getting you the wettest, which is exactly why I just said that's like dirty talk for you. Okay. The last dude I dated because I prioritize my pleasure and make sure that he gets it right. Okay. I don't tell anyone I don't tell anyone that though. I know that we aren't supposed to be pouring on the compliments and making dudes feel like we're fans. Yes. Should we ever make him feel like he's the best we ever had in bed? Oh boy. Should we only just show our own pleasure from our body language, reactions, moans, and not actual words or compliments? Okay, okay, little pause break. Those of you who are under 20 years old, please exit the chat. Okay? Because this is a 20 plus question. We should put this on the premium 20 plus show. Okay? Because any of you under 20 years old don't need to be hearing about this. We ain't gonna be having conversation. Go eat turkey and stuffing with your family. Okay? This ain't the conversation for you that we're about to have here. All right? Also, since I'm in my diva era and going full speed ahead as a Players Club member and not a doormat. Okay, so, okay, all right. I want to know if I should ever get the warm washcloth at the end. Oh my God. Chat, if you're under 20, exit the chat. I'm actually so serious. I think you'll say no because it's like I'm doing acts of service for him. Okay. If a guy, this is very graphic. If a guy busts a nut on your behind, you should not be getting up and getting your own washcloth. Okay? No. Even if a guy busts a nut on himself, let him go up and get his own washcloth. Okay? I don't like where I'm going to hold my tongue. Okay, let's go on. Should I ask him to get it for me? Are we having like a stalemate here? You and him are just looking at each other like a Western? Like a stick up? Who's going to go get the what? What? That shouldn't even... Okay. Should I become a pillow princess and do nothing also in the bedroom except in receiving? Wow. Okay. I'm so thrown off by this question. I don't even know. Okay. I could get used to that. Should I ever initiate pineapples or just be very obvious about wanting it, but don't ask for it wait, what? But don't ask for it so that I stay doing nothing. What kinds of things should I avoid doing during or post pineapples that will show that he hasn't won the video game of our relationship / marriage? My issue is in the past has always been making a guy feel too secure with me. Okay. All right. First of all, there's an order of operations to this, meaning this should only be happening once you've established that you know this guy. And when I say know this guy, I mean like you know what he's about. Not sleeping with the guy as a way to kind of secure him in this, like secure the relationship. Okay, so I'm just gonna preface what I say. You shouldn't be sleeping with the guy to secure the relationship. This should be the kind of the last step in the process to knowing there already is a relationship. Now, as it relates to your pleasure, assuming that this is an established relationship with this guy, okay, I want to make this very clear. Being a pillow princess, that's a no. Okay. I'm making the assumption these are actually guys who are invested in you and, you know, actually want to be with you for the long term. Don't purposely become a pillow princess. That's very boring, uninteresting, and you're going to lose. You're actually going to make yourself more unattractive to a guy who would be attracted to the regular you. Now, when it comes to, okay, like I said, chat, if you're under 20, just leave. Because I have to get graphic here in order to answer this question. If this, how much wetter you get stuff, you know, I like when you do this, blah, 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 blah. If that's dirty talk for you, okay, that's fine. And you do want to, if the guy is your man and you're his woman, you do want to encourage men. Remember, we talked about ego earlier in the show. You do want to encourage men and make them feel like they're doing a good job. That way they go harder, okay? Right? And so when you're praising them, if he's your man, when you're praising him, it's actually a good thing, because especially when you praise him doing the things that you enjoy, you're actually doing yourself a favor, because you're letting him know, I enjoy this. Keep doing this. Do this like this. Do these positions. Do this, pace. Stroke me like this, whatever it may be, right? And so you're able to receive more of what you want because you're strategically praising him doing the things that you like doing. It's like it's the intimate version of what I say to do outside of the bedroom, right? When I tell you guys, if you want to see a particular action continue all the time in your relationship, then you emphasize it by showing him a lot of appreciation whenever he does it, and reminding him, even if he's not doing it currently, reminding him of how much you appreciated it when he did XYZ. So just for the sake of example, let's say you really love it when, it's very graphic, let's say you really love it when he hits it from the back, pulls your hair, and he puts his thumb in your behind, okay? And you're like, oh my God, I love when you do that. It's just so crazy. It turns me on so much, right? You bring that up as, even if he's not doing it currently, as just a way to remind him, this is the thing that I really like when you do this, okay? And now you're emphasizing in his mind, this is the thing that you want to continue, right? This is the action that you want to continue. We're very deep in here. I hope the younger people are gone, right? And that's the action that you want to continue. So the praising can actually be a useful tool for guys if that's your actual man that you're in a relationship with. So in that sense, the praising isn't anything bad. Now, where it can be bad is if you're doing this with a man that the relationship is not actually secured with. Now, when you're praising him, you're just giving him more of that validation where he's feeling like, damn, I really am the man. I don't need to work or do anything more for her, right? But if this is already an established relationship, you're actually kind of doing yourself a favor by making it more clear to him what you're into, okay? And what you like and what you want to continue. Because guys also need that, they need that confirmation, right? They need that validation to know they're doing a good job. You don't have to call him a good boy unless he's into that, but you want to kind of praise him doing the things that you want from him. Do not be a pillow princess. That's not a good idea, right? You can be okay with receiving, but don't be a pillow princess. And if you are receiving from him, right? If whether it be he's going down on you, he's doing whatever for you, okay? You should get into the habit of praising him when he's hitting the spot, doing the pace, doing the motion that you enjoy the most, okay? So if he's doing his tongue in that particular circle motion or side-to-side motion that you really like, praise him for doing that. Emphasize it. That is going to show him that that's the thing that you want to continue, okay? Sometimes guys, when it even comes to this, can be a little bit stunted. So when you praise him continuously, that's when he knows that's the one I should do continuously. So I say that to say that's you helping yourself. Does that make sense? Now, as it comes to initiating, obviously this is your man, so it's a little bit different than initiating with a random stranger. I would advise you, your initiation should be kind of like a soft initiation, all right? Unless you're doing it, this is so graphic. I don't want to get too graphic, but unless you're doing a thing where, you know, there's certain vibes where you might be the one, I need this badly, okay? If you're in that vibe, then that could be an appropriate time. But for the most part, you want the guy to be doing the initiating, okay? Unless you're doing a thing, okay? For those of you who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I don't have to explain it anymore. You get it, right? If you're doing the thing where you're so horned up and you need a thing and it's a thing, that thing, then you're doing that thing, then yeah, sure, it's fine for you to initiate. But for the most part, you do want him to be the one initiating. And if you want him to initiate on you, you just use your subtle hints that, yo, I want you, or I'm thinking about you, or maybe you graze it, or you touch it, or you go past it, or you do a little funny, scoot over type of thing. And that's his cue to go crazy. All right. This is we gotta move forward. Okay. I hope that answers most of your questions there. All right. Complimenting is fine. Praising is fine if he's your man. If he's not, please no. Okay. Let's go on to our next question here. Which highlight these ones. Okay. This is from Tanya T. What the hell? Okay. Why is this like this? What is going on the Discord? What do y'all be doing? What the hell? Why is this? How do you even do this like this? Why is this typed out like this? Hi, Tomisin. I want to share this situation that has been weighing. I think you said weighing on me is what you meant to say. The next day, I left for my home country. Though we had our first conversation, he admitted that he noticed, and it all made sense to me. His reasons felt genuine. Wait, what? I feel like I'm not reading a. What? Okay. You have to. Please send in your question properly in the proper format. This is very confusing for me, and I don't understand what's going on. Okay. Just resend your question in the proper format so that it's proper. Okay. Oh, is this the proper format? Perfect. I'm 22, dating a 31-year-old. Hi, Tomisin. I want to share the situation that has been weighing on me, and I would love your perspective. It all started at a destination wedding I attended a few months ago. Among the guests at the wedding, there was a man. We never spoke. Oh boy. During the wedding, but I felt his presence. Oh no. This sounds like a delusion message. He kept staring at me and I couldn't ignore the tension. It was creepy. You're sending a message about him. So clearly it wasn't that creepy. Though there was something intriguing about him. You like danger? You like Joe Goldberg type of vibe? Okay. The next day, I left for my home country. Though we had no interaction, I couldn't stop thinking about him. You're horned up. It was odd because I had no reason to. Weeks passed and I found myself looking him up on his. You're horned up. You're horned up. You're like the fantasy has got you horned up. It's okay. Happens to all of us. The fantasy has got you horned up. Okay. I decided to follow him. Wow. The fantasy is controlling your mind, body, and soul here. Okay. And the moment I did, he followed me back and sent me a message almost immediately. Okay. All right. In our first conversation, he admitted that he noticed me at the wedding, but didn't approach me for a few reasons. Let's see what they are. First, my parents were present and he knows them well. That actually kind of makes the approach easier, doesn't it? Okay. He respects them and didn't want to create a situation that might raise eyebrows. What's wrong with the conversation? It's a wedding. Second, he pointed out that people in our culture love to gossip. Gossip about what? He's a single man, you're a single woman. What's wrong with having a conversation? He feared that approaching me at the wedding would spark rumors. Rumors of what? Two single people having a conversation and flirting? What's wrong? What type of rumor is that? Plus, my uncle is actually his boss, another complexity. Okay, I don't think that's a deal break. It's a conversation. It made sense to me, so we started talking more. To my surprise, we quickly hit it off. I hate that you said this because you're not talking about hitting it off in person. You're talking about hitting it off over text message. Okay? Right? And someone said he's older. The age gap is 22 and 31. So we're not talking about so much older that it would be inappropriate for them to be having a conversation. Like that's not, they're both adults. This man turned out to be everything I had ever been searching for in terms of communication. What are you basing this off of? You're basing this off of your messages back and forth on Instagram. You hit him up on Instagram. You're basing the fact that you have the best communication that you've ever had with a man from messaging him on Instagram. This is the type of stuff I type. I'm gonna get up so that I can properly answer the question. Stretching helps me relieve stress. So it just, oh my God. I don't, on one side, the other side. You have to understand, like, I get it. I understand that the fantasy can take over the mind. Okay, I'm not saying that I don't understand why the fantasy is enticing, but when you send me messages and you start saying things like, "Oh my God, he's not like any man I've ever met in my life," that wouldn't even be an appropriate assumption if you meet someone on an actual date one time. Okay, that's you don't even know them then, and you definitely don't know them when all you're doing is sending them DMs on Instagram. So for you to say this was the best communication I've ever had in my entire life for a man that you've never actually met in person, right? You've seen him in person. You didn't actually even get a chance to meet him then at the wedding. And all you're doing is messaging him back and forth on IG. That's not having the best communication you've ever experienced. I would hope not. He wanted to talk all the time, even during his office hours. He would call me while working, even if he was busy. Sometimes I would not pick up, so I don't make myself too available. For about a month, everything seemed perfect. So I believe there's a part 2 here. Oh, boy, I tell you, boy. But, so let's open this up. But then out of nowhere, he ghosted me for 3 days. Those 3 days were rough for me. See, you're in a very bad place. A man that you've never actually met in real life stops giving you attention for 3 days, and you're telling me how rough it is. I'm not saying that you can't feel what you feel, but I'm saying you're in more of a dopamine addiction than you are an actual relationship. You don't even know this guy because all you've done is text him and call him, and you haven't actually met him in person. And you're saying that your 3 days without texting and calling him were so rough as if you lost the love of your life, your husband. I felt the sting deeply because I had grown so used to constant attention. I texted him and asked him if he was okay. He ended up telling me that he was really sick. Quite convenient, right? Quite convenient. I was furious, but I didn't show it. Instead, I decided to stay my ground and ghosted him for about 2 weeks. He tried everything to get my attention. He called me and texted me repeatedly. It got to a point where he used a fake number to reach me. Okay. Deep down, I felt a satisfaction. After those 2 weeks, I decided to respond. So, how can you feel a satisfaction if you respond? Hold on, let me fix this thing on the TikTok chat. It's not coming through. TikTok chat is not going. Anyways, so I don't understand here. Why did you respond? Why did you respond? I told him I had been fasting and praying for that time, which is true. He seemed to understand and picked up where we left off. As we continued talking, he began to express a desire to see me in person. It has now been 3 months of talking. I told him I wasn't going to travel to him unless he made the effort to facilitate it. He finally bought the ticket. Oh boy. 2 days before my flight, I sent him a text saying 2 more days, but he didn't reply until the following day. That's when I started feeling uneasy. He called me the night before my flight and dropped unexpected news. His aunt was sick. So sad. And he needed to travel to his homeland that same weekend. He said it would be best to cancel my trip. Nice. Weeks went by without any communication from him. Then, out of the blue, he texted me to say he was back. During the time he was away, he completely stopped calling or texting me. I felt like he had checked out emotionally, and I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling that I was no longer a priority. It's not a feeling. I decided to take control of the situation. Oh boy. I sent him a message saying I had been reflecting on everything and realized I didn't feel the same about him anymore. I told him it would be best for us to stop communicating. He responded simply, okay, I understand. Nice. That was it. No fight, no effort to change my mind, just acceptance. And there's obviously a part 3 here. Okay. But I tell you, boy. Since then, we haven't spoken. Part of me feels relief, but another part of me wonders if I made the right decision. Right decision? What? What? Should I have waited longer to see if things improved? Was I too harsh? Now I'm left with the dilemma. If he decides to call me in the future, should I pick up? No. I'll give you a simple answer. No. I still care for him in some ways, but I don't know if I can trust him after everything that happened. What do you think? Should I give him another chance if he reaches out? Or is it better to leave things as they are and move on completely? Tanya, let me kind of break down something for you, okay, that hopefully you can take from this. You have to understand that fantasies are not real, okay? Anytime you don't know a man and you immediately start building what you feel like he's like based on what he looks like, you're already living in a delusional land. And that delusion is only going to drag you deeper and deeper and deeper into the depths of despair. What I mean by that is you spent a lot of time at the very beginning projecting what you thought he was like to the point where you sought him out and you followed him on Instagram. Then he messaged you, and trust me, it wasn't that you guys had the best communication ever of your entire life. It was that you already wanted to believe this is the man of your dreams, and anything he was going to do, you were going to find a narrative to fit around the idea that he was the man of your dreams. That's exactly what happened. And then as time went on and you got to spend more time around him, or you actually had to, have some time with him, right? For that delusion and that fantasy to die down. When you started meeting the real him, you started realizing that, oh my God, like I still haven't met you and it's been months, and you're starting to flop on me. And eventually what ended up happening is it became undeniable where you could no longer project that fantasy onto him because now you were starting to experience things with him that you could no longer twist in your mind as, oh, he's my perfect guy anymore. And honestly, the reason you broke up with him, truthfully, Tanya, in my estimation, is that you got to a point where it was impossible for you to live in that fantasy anymore, for the most part. And that disappointment of realizing that my whole fantasy of him is not really it's not real, right? And he's not really that guy that I thought he was. That actually kind of ruined it for you, which is why you said, I kind of want to break up. And the only reason that you are thinking about answering him now or thinking about if you made the wrong mistake is because now you're a little bit lonely. I can assure you, if you had another guy that you thought was handsome, good looking, attractive, that was taking you out on dates, you wouldn't be thinking about answering his calls when he called and things like that, right? You're saying that because you're lonely now. And you're just thinking to yourself, well, damn, maybe I might not find another guy. So maybe I should answer him, or maybe I was too harsh. No, you weren't. The reality of it is he really, we can slice it and dice it however we want. Yeah, sure, he called you for a little bit at the beginning. He messaged you for a little bit. But when we really break down his level of interest in you and in pursuing a relationship with you, he really didn't have enough to be in a relationship. And he damn sure didn't have enough to be in a long distance relationship. Because let's not forget that what you were trying to do was you were trying to build a long distance relationship, which I always say majority of the time is not going to work out. Because in order to build a long distance relationship, you need a guy who's double as intentional with you as the average guy. What I mean by that is with long distance, you're not going to get in-person dates. You're not going to be able to cuddle. You're not going to be able to sit down together and get over fights or arguments just by simply being around each other in person. So if he's not very intentional with you and intentional with what he wants out of this relationship with you and over long distance, you're going to get lack of effort. He's not going to call. He's not going to text, and he's not going to seriously follow through with all of the logistics and planning and scheduling that has to take place if you're going to make a long distance relationship work. Okay? Takes very strong people to make that work and a very intentional man to make that work. And I say all that to say, I don't think that he had that level of interest in you to even want to make that work. And I think as time went on, you started to realize that that was the case, which is why you eventually just said, I think the best thing to do is break up, which that was the right answer. So let me kind of leave you with what you should do moving forward. My advice to you is if you feel you will be tempted by a message from him, just go ahead and block him. Okay? Because if you're already thinking in your mind, I'm not sure what I'm going to do if he texts or calls, just put yourself in a position where you don't have to worry about how you're going to answer. Just say to yourself, my answer will not be an answer because I won't even see the message. That way you make the choice early on that you're just not replying. And you don't even put yourself in a position to succumb to temptation. Because if he texts you at the right time when you're lonely, you're going to respond. If he calls you at the right time when you're lonely, you're going to respond. So why don't we eliminate that temptation by not even having you see the text or call in the first place? If you're really serious about moving forward with your life. Now, if you just want to keep going in circles and you want to believe in this fantasy that honestly hasn't happened and won't happen, then sure. Leave his number there. Leave the chance that he might call you or text you and then answer him whenever he does. But I promise you, you'll be in a hamster wheel asking me 3 months from now, hey, Tomisin, why is the guy texting me again, but now he's still not serious? And I'll tell you the same thing, because he was never serious. Okay? All right, chat. That's the show for today. Sorry that I couldn't get the TikTok chat was glitching. I don't know why we were having a glitch with the TikTok chat pulling up in here. I can see their messages on my device, but you guys can't see it on the YouTube. It's okay. All right, chat. That's the show for today. For those of you guys who have a question for me that you want to answer and you want to send into the show, you can do that by going into our Discord section, whether it be our free relationship advice forum or it be our Discord premium section. Oh, there it is. It's back there. Okay. Right. And so you can do that. Link in my bio on TikTok or the link in my description on YouTube. You can get access to those sections. You can also get access to my private relationship advice through those same links. Okay. For those of you who are wanting to follow me on Instagram because you want to see everything that I do on a daily basis, my Instagram's on the top left corner of the screen. It's just my name, Tomisin_Tub. If you're on TikTok watching, it's also in the link in my description if you're on YouTube watching. For those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch the show from start to finish because you love it so much and you miss some parts, you can go onto my YouTube channel. It's just my name, Tomisin Atobatele. And you go onto my YouTube page, type it in on YouTube, you go to the live section, and then you'll be able to see this live stream and all the other live streams that I've done since the beginning of time. And you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video so you won't miss even a second of conversation, okay? For those of you wanting to catch me on live, again, I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to figure out what time I'm going to be live next, going to be tomorrow at 4 p.m. EST, figure out what time 4 p.m. EST is in your time zone, okay? Until we meet again tomorrow, I will bid you adieu. Oh, I should add that one. Adieu, right? That's okay. Yeah, bid you adieu. Goodbye for now. Hasta la vista. Sayonara. Adios. Ciao. Salam. Arrivederci. Bon voyage. And I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Those of you in the USA, have a great rest of your Thanksgiving. Eat lots of turkey, stuffing, mac and cheese, and all that good stuff. Don't be too bloated and don't wake up with a swollen face from all the salt. But stay good, stay healthy, stay with lots of love, and I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hopefully all the stuffing goes to your booty. Nice big dump truck for you. All right? I'll see you tomorrow.